19. Hey everyone, just coming to you doing a live tonight. It is Thursday the 9th of July and we've just heard good news from in Melbourne that they've now eased the lockdown restrictions on 8 of the 9 towers in Flemington and North Melbourne. So there's one tower that's still under lockdown. I don't know the exact address. I did have it in front of me. I can see if I can find it again. So 8 out of the 9 towers. The one that's being kept in lockdown is, let's have a look. Where are we? So it does say here, the residents of Pamper Street and Melrose Street locations are now free to go back to stage 3, similar to the rest of Greater Melbourne. Residents at Sutton Street, Canning Street, Holland Court, and the 3 Racecourse Road towers will also go back to stage 3 restrictions from midnight. Now, the other guys in the tower, 33 Alfred Street, remains in hard lockdown. They're saying because there were 53 COVID-19 cases. Now, the interesting thing is, Dan Andrews announced that 2,515 tests were done from the 9 towers. Now, they've been reporting that there's 3,000 people in these 9 towers. Our sources, and we've got it in video on videotapes as well, tell us that there's closer to between 8 and 16,000 people in these towers. So 2,515 tests have been confirmed done. Now, something quite alarming is coming to us right now, and that's through text messages from people who are still in there, some residents. There's still people door knocking, trying to do tests throughout these towers. There haven't been any announcements done to these people. They haven't actually had a phone call or a message or anything else to let them know. They're saying right now, I'm just getting the message right here on my phone saying, I have no idea what's going on. Hopefully there won't be any cops coercing us towards doing testing. So people are still knocking on the doors. Police and nurses are walking along floor to floor and knocking on doors, still trying to get people to do tests, even right up to now. So I don't know if that's happening in all the towers. And if anyone's watching and you know it is, let us know. Because they did say all testing had been complete. 2,515 tests were done, but we're obviously hearing from people that that's not quite true, and it's just another narrative change as we go along, and we've seen it from day dot. So we're obviously there on the Sunday. We'll just do a quick recap. So obviously on, was it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday afternoon, I think the lockdown went into place. I can never remember anything like that. So lockdown went into place at the 3 or 4 o'clock, 4:30. Residents didn't have any chance to go out and do any shopping or anything like that. And then from each day onwards after that, it's been a bit of a mess, I would say. That's the easiest way to say it. So the government's bodies didn't work together on this at all. So you had police officers not knowing exactly where they needed to be or what they needed to do. You had directions changing, whether people could go out of their rooms or had to stay in their rooms. Everyone thought a hard lockdown actually meant that residents had to stay in their rooms the whole time. But people, the beautiful people of the community, the mosques and other areas around were bringing food to the towers the whole time. And that food was getting dropped off at the doors, and residents were getting called to come down for their food. So people were moving between buildings, not between buildings, but between their rooms and the ground floor, up and down the elevators the whole time. My gut feeling on that is, if you've got an infectious disease and you say that it's rife throughout these buildings, you probably wouldn't let people move around through the corridors and up and down the elevators. That just is common sense. And that's something I think they would have done straight away. The idea that people were moving around the whole time and then eventually they got locked down into their rooms. If you're going to let them move around the building, give them an outdoor area where they can all go and do exercise or whatever, even if you have to cordon it off with the police. It's one way or the other. And it doesn't sound like there was any clear directives or directions coming from the politicians and the state health officer or whatever he is, the head of command, blah, 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 the guy who made a mess of this whole thing. So what I feel like has happened, so there's been confusion along the whole way. A couple of days into this, we heard about a baby that was, premature baby that was off in a hospital, and the mum was in the in the lockdown and couldn't get out to see her baby. Now, we were pushing this through DHHS and trying to get information and trying to get these people out to see this lady out to see her sick baby, and nothing was happening. Eventually, it ended up being that Bill Shorten, the Labor minister, federal minister, stepped in and got the lady out to see her baby. Now, since then, the volunteer that helped her to do this has called me and said DHHS is putting pressure on her and threatening her in regards to the fact that the lady went out to see her baby. So it's a mess. The people don't know what's happening. The misinformation that's going around in circles is pretty much daily. And even now, when they've been told that they'll go to stage 3 lockdowns at midnight tonight, the people aren't getting told the information. The nurses and policemen are still knocking on all the doors and trying to coerce people into doing tests. I have these people that I just put up the video earlier, and I would say if you guys get a chance, go and look at that video and share it everywhere, because it shows the true meaning of what's happening in these towers. So what they were doing is, what they were doing there was knocking on the door. They had a camera with them, and they were watching to see what was happening. And the nurse was standing in the doorway with her foot up against the wide door, holding it open. And she asked them if they could do the test, and for their child. At first, she said she didn't think that the parents had done the test, and they said, no, we did it, and we've both got negative reports. And she didn't believe them, so they had to bring out their phone and show that they had negative reports from Dorovich. Now, she started saying that, no, the test results can be asymptomatic. You can still carry it. We want you to do the test again, which they said no. And then after that, they started coercing her and saying, your 2-year-old daughter needs to get a test done. And they were saying, well, we don't want to get the test done for her. We're both negative. She hasn't left the apartment or the unit, hasn't been around anyone. So they were saying they didn't want her to get the test. And obviously people are saying it's not carried by children. But are they saying now that it is carried by children, or is it not? Or has it never been about COVID-19? Is there more underlying things that are going on here? You know, we can talk conspiracies as much as we like, but I prefer to talk about what we call more truths of what's happening in the background than to talk about what we call conspiracies. Now, as I said, that family's still in touch with me. We've got quite a few different families in touch with us as well. I've had people asking us to send them the videos that we've been taking and whatever else, but the trust isn't there, because what's to say that these aren't government type officials wanting to get this information off us as well? So my biggest thing here is that people are seeing things like crisis actors being involved in this, that is coming on TV and saying this happened, that happened. And then you see videos of them sitting with Dan Andrews and they're involved with the Labor Party. There's so much more to this that we just don't know about. And what I was going to do is basically just break down the simple basic facts of what we saw when we were there. So when we were there on day 1 and day 2, the people in lockdown had no idea what was going on. When we were there on day 3, people were getting coerced with money towards getting a test done. And people were getting told they wouldn't know how long this lockdown would go. And the only way they would know when it would finish is if they got the test done. And even today, when they were speaking to this family, you could hear them saying, depending on whether you get the test or not, is when the time frame will be for you coming out of lockdown, which I feel like was just a whole lot of baloney, because only it's not COVID. Only this afternoon, Dan Andrews then announced that they would be coming out of the lockdown. So we only spoke with yesterday a community official who said he was running the emergency response team that said it would be 48 hours before they got testing results back. And then after those testing results came back, they would take another 2 days to make decisions on what would happen with these people in lockdown. So it's a shambles. The HHS has 5 different departments at least, and within those 5 different departments, they don't talk amongst each other. So you go and talk to one. We went into the emergency room, the one that I got kicked out of today. And within that department, and I don't think it's because they don't want us to expose how badly they're running these things, these government departments. Within that room, you can speak to one about something, child protection. But if you need to talk about health, child protection can't pass on information to health. Health can't pass on to child protection. None of them can relay information amongst each other throughout DHHS, which for me just is comical. It was comical. I was sitting there going, how can this be done this way? And then you speak to the police and they can't speak with DHHS. They have no open line of communication. So the police are saying, we don't know exactly what's happening here. It goes from the food being able to go in through the front door, to the food having to go through the back door, to the food having to come around into the community centre. So you can only drop it until 5 o'clock. And then the residents are getting one lot of information, another lot of information, and it's all psychological brain fuckery. And I feel like there's a huge independent inquiry that has to happen at the end of this. We don't want a government inquiry. We want an inquiry run by the people. And this could be where the common law courts come into their fruition, because they're already starting up around Australia. If we take this through the common law courts, we take Dan Andrews, we take DHHS, we take all these guys through the common law courts, there's no way that this can be taken as being done in the right way, because everything here is that all of this is making no sense. There's no rhyme or reason. And if you're a critical, you don't even have to be a critical thinker. Just stop for a second and stop watching the mainstream media and listen to what we've got to say to you. As I say, we're making a video with all our stuff from the back end. So every conversation we have from day 1 to day 5, which is the real news, is going to be made into a video. Chantel's doing it right now. So once that's done, you're going to have these 5 videos in a row showing every bit of real news of what happened from day 1 through to day 5. Every bit of information from day 1 through to day 5, including the police liaison saying to me that no one will be arrested for coming out and waving to the people inside, and then 4 arrests taking place. Because you've got to remember, all of this stuff that was transpiring outside the building, inside the building, they were hearing sirens, they were seeing arrests, they were getting told they had to get tested if they wanted to leave earlier. They were getting all these different bits of information. And people here are writing about DNA. DNA is a huge thing, because DNA means that you've got the information on all these citizens. All these citizens are giving you their DNA as they go. People are talking about once they've had the test, feeling sick. Now, this test goes right up inside your nasal cavity, right up into the back, and nearly the bottom part of a brain stem or something like that I've read about, which is making people sick, making people have seizures. We've got people talking to us saying they're feeling sick after having it done. So common law court is the way to investigate all of them for crimes. We're going to investigate for crimes against humanity, locking these people down in the way they did, with the draconian manner that they did, without giving any opportunity for people to go outside, even putting them into a fixed area, which we tried to get from day 1, which they wouldn't do. Changing everything along the whole way, it makes no sense. So let's look at 2 big things that would have happened through what they got to do here. 3 big things. 4. Let's go through 4 things. Number 1, this strict lockdown happened on land where Dan Andrews is trying to privatise 858 different privatised buildings on this land. And it's very important for him to get into this area in Flemington and North Road, the Arden Street project. That's number 1. Number 2, the amount of tests that they got to do, 2,515 tests, because in Broadmeadows, 10,000 people decided they didn't want to get tested. By doing these 2,515 tests, they got enough results for them to put all of Australia down into lockdown. Now you're seeing all these different areas breaking out with COVID-19. There's your second one. Your third point is with the with the COVID tests, they're going into the mouth and into the nose. People were saying they use the same swab in your mouth as they use in your nose. Hopefully they go to the nose before they go to the mouth. Now, I know, other way. Hopefully they go to the mouth before they go to the nose. But it's the same swab used in your mouth and your nose. So I don't know if you know that, but that's what's happening as well. Now, that's 3 points. The 4th point is within the government conspiracies and what's happening, no communication is happening between any of the systems. So they're saying that the government makes all the decisions. DHHS is meant to have humanity, or people's, it's the Department of Health and Human Services. So they're meant to look after everyone. The most disgusting thing I saw out of anything that happened in this lockdown is, and I don't know if it's a classist thing or if it's government directives, but there was no legal representatives. There wasn't a single legal representative there. There was no legal aid. There was no Fitzroy Legal Services. There was no Flemington, Kensington. None of them were there. There was no legal services there, not one. In all the people that were there was no legal services. And these are your most vulnerable citizens that generally don't understand their legal rights, getting told and coerced into getting these tests done, having this food coming through in dribs and drabs, and then as soon as they get the testing done, the right amount of people, food went out and flowed out to these people over the last 24 hours. And they got iPads, and they got toys and Lego and everything else. And if you don't think that's to soften them up after the hardest lockdown ever in Australia, then you've got marbles in your head, because that's exactly what's happening here. And there were so many beautiful people there trying their hardest, volunteers, healthcare workers, SES, fireys, all these people there giving their time and effort for something that seems like it's just smoke and mirrors. And the more we look into this and go through the footage, the more you're going to see how much of a, let's call it an act. They call it an act. They call it a directive or an act. The whole thing is an act. And the whole thing is set up for fear. And I truly hope that all of you guys, we have to be as happy as we can for the people to come out of this, because from midnight tonight, they go back into stage 3, which is similar to what we have. Once they go into stage 3, I'm hoping the police and these nurses knocking door to door let these people go back to live a normal life, because what's happened here is against the Human Rights Act, and you've taken away all these people's small privileges and lifestyle. The other thing I want here is once they go back to this normal life, don't let it be the normal life it was before, because all of us have learned so much about how vulnerable this area is and the people that live here. Look at the people that live here, and instead of driving past these commission flats and these homes for the lower socioeconomic people, instead of driving past and sticking your nose up and saying what an ugly building or those people are this or those people are that, drive past from a place of love. Drop into the community centre. If you've got things to offer, if you can help with mental health, if you can help with sports and activities, if you can help with arts, if you can help with education, if you can volunteer any time at all to help these people live a better life, do it, because this has to be an awakening. All of this COVID-19 is an awakening for all of us. All of this COVID-19 means that we can wake up and be better people, because all of us can be a part of this new lifestyle that we all deserve. And if we allow fear to control everything we do, we won't learn any lessons from this. But because there's a lesson here that can be learned for everyone, and the lesson is we are all humans. And because of that, we deserve to be equal. It doesn't matter about race. It doesn't matter about religion. It doesn't matter about wealth. It doesn't matter about poverty. We deserve to be getting along with each other, and we deserve to live a better life. So, as I say, if anything comes out of this, don't let it be just the hate for the government, and let it be just that you don't believe anything anymore, or that everything's lies. Come into your stomach. Again, as I say, go from that place of love and spread love and kindness everywhere, because it makes a huge difference in this world. And as I said, next time you drive past these commercial commission homes, don't turn your head the other way. Don't look the other way and forget these people, because now you have an opportunity to be a part of their lives as well, because they feel ostracized here. They feel like they've been treated so badly that all of us can stop this division by being a part of their lives. Let's go in there and say, let's be a part of your community and you be a part of ours, and let's help each other. So I really pray and hope anyone out there that can help with mental health type services, anyone that's got any skill set at all in the arts, go into these communities at North Melbourne and Flemington and volunteer your services, because that's how you change the world. And all of us have that power, the power of one, the ripple effect, as I always say, like dropping a stone in the water and watching it go out, the butterfly effect. Continue to do that with these people. And instead of looking down at the ground, instead of having your mask so no one can see that you're a nice person or smiling or happy, look up at someone and say, how are you going today? Because you can change that person's life. They'll go and say it to 20 other people. Those 20 people, out of them, 5 or 6 will say it to 20 people. And you can touch 1 million people with your actions every single day. So let this be a lesson for all of us to continue to move forwards all the time. So the equality needs to be across all people. And I feel like different agendas get pushed at all times. But for us, we can spread love and kindness quicker than any virus, whether it's fake or real. We can spread love and kindness quicker than any virus. We can spread love and kindness so easily because we can change and reframe everything that's happened here. So rather than looking at this as being a plight on humanity, we can look at this as an opportunity to change the way we think and the way we move through our life. Because before this happened, everyone was so worried about their own lockdown that they were becoming very insular. What I want you all to do, as I said, is stop believing everything in the mainstream media. Take these people and remember what happened here and don't allow this to happen again. And if you see it happen again, stand up straight away because every single one of you can make a huge difference in this world. And that's probably where I'm going to leave it. Keep an eye out for the video. As I said, we're going to put it together with everything that's happened over the last 5 to 6 days. And there's a lot of real truths in there. So once we put that up, share it out to as many people as possible. To all the people within the Commission Flats, we see you. We will continue to see you and we'll be here for you. We send you love and we send you caring and we send you nothing but the best wishes moving forwards. And we're not going to be forgetting about you and we're going to be here. Myself, feel free to reach out to me anytime because, you know, I feel like any hardships or anything that you struggle with going forwards, we're here for you 100%. Everyone in the wider community, if you see any injustices happening when it comes to COVID-19 and the government shutting down things or whatever else, call out because we're here to help you. Look up for our group as well. I'll just put it here in the comments. So we've got the unitedcollective.org, collective.org, and we can help you with anything at all. So please keep spreading love. You're all amazing. If you've got any questions, just shout out. I'll be here for 2 more seconds. I'm just going to read up and see if there's any comments here. It looks like everyone's just saying pretty much the same things. We're kind of agreeing a bit. Hopefully from midnight tonight, people start getting out there. We'll stay in touch with everyone. I've got a lot of people contacting me right now, so I don't want to stay on here for too long. But yeah, keep spreading love. Look out for the videos showing everything that's happened over the last 6 days without any editing. It's going to be very real. And yeah, don't put your head in the sand from now on. Move forwards and look after each other as much as possible. Peace.